You can hustle harder, land better gigs, even double your income. Yeah. But if your bucket is full of holes, it won't matter how much you pour in. That hit me last year when a health scare wrecked my savings just from getting tested, And I realized that I didn't just need to earn like the 1%, I needed to manage it like them. So I adapted a rule they use, and it completely changed how I handle money. Here's how the 30-60-10 rule works, starting with the first 30. Build your buffer. So most of us don't have a safety net, especially when we're self-employed, right? No paycheck every 2 weeks, no HR, no fallback. And when you live like that long enough, you get used to the tension. You start thinking it's normal to be one unexpected bill away from panic, yeah? But it's not normal. And it's definitely not sustainable, right? That's why the first part of this system is about building your buffer. A simple personal emergency fund that exists for one sole reason, so you can just breathe. Yeah. Not to invest, not for retirement, just to cover the basics when life throws something unexpected at you. And life will throw something, whether it's a late payment from a client, a family emergency, a health scare that you didn't see coming. And when they happen, they completely knock you off balance financially. And that's when you realize that if you don't have a buffer, then you're not just broke, you're exposed. Yeah. So what we can try here is try saving 5 to 10% from your next payment. Open a separate account and name it emergency fund. Even if it's just $10, the important thing is to start the habit. And if you want help building your version of this, I made a free tool called Anza. It's like a calm and chargy companion for anyone building financial freedom from scratch. You'll find the link below if you want to try it out for yourself. Let's move to point 2, 60%, keep life lean. Let's be honest, it's easy to think we just have an income problem, that if you could just make more, everything would be okay, right? But if we're being real, then for many of us, part of the problem is also how we spend what we already make. Because every time more money comes in, life seems to expand to match it. We upgrade, we justify, we treat ourselves, not out of joy, but out of exhaustion. And yet somehow, we still feel stuck, yeah? And that's where this next step comes in. Cap your life costs deliberately, yeah? And the goal is to keep your core expenses, things like your rent, your groceries, your bills, transport, even family support, within 60% of what you bring in. It's not easy, especially when prices are increasing and income isn't always consistent. But this is what helps you survive the dry seasons without spiraling. When you're self-employed, stability doesn't just show up. You have to design it, yeah? And I learned this the hard way, chasing paychecks, but still feeling broke. Not because I wasn't earning, but because my costs kept growing just as fast, So now I try to keep my baseline lean, like not minimal in a deprive yourself way, just more intentional. So there's space to breathe. So I'm not scrambling every time like a quiet month hits. And what we can try here is write down your top 3 expenses. Ask yourself, can I lower any of these by even 10% without sacrificing peace? Start with the big stuff, the rent, the transport, the groceries. It's not about cutting out your daily coffee. It's starting at the foundation. And point 3 is 10% that we use to fund the joy. So when money is tight, joy is usually the first thing to go. Yeah, we tell ourselves we'll rest later, we'll celebrate once things are stable, and we'll treat ourselves when we've earned it. Yeah, but here's the truth: if you don't create space for joy right now, then you're going to burn out trying to deserve it later. This isn't about reckless spending. It's about guilt-free living, even just a little, So the third part of this system is simple. Set aside 10% of what you earn for the stuff that makes life feel good again. Whatever that looks like for you. It could be a quiet dinner, a book you've been eyeing, a Saturday completely off, a small upgrade to your setup that brings you energy. It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be on purpose. Because when you spend intentionally, not to escape, but to refill, then you start seeing joy not as a distraction, but as fuel. This isn't just a fun money category, it's a motivation fund, a signal to yourself that you're building a life you actually want to live. If joy feels selfish right now, then try this. Just take 5 to 10% of what you earned this week and spend it on something that restores you. So the 1% have a system, but the truth is, we don't need to be the 1% to learn from them. We can borrow what works and adapt it for the season we're in. 30% for protection, 60% for what keeps life running, and 10% for what keeps us alive. You don't have to follow it perfectly. You just need a structure that helps you breathe a little easier. Something that gives you back some peace, some clarity, and a bit of control. Because when you're self-employed or figuring it out, it's not just about making money, it's about finally feeling like your money isn't running you. And if you're tired of that constant pressure, always wondering where your next paycheck will come from, always waiting for things to finally click, then check out this next video where I break down the most valuable high-income skills you can learn in 2025. It might give you the clarity that you've been looking for. I'll see you there, yeah? Cheers.